Islands in Lathrop. River Islands, we got to get that right. River Islands. Has Kendra ever been to River Islands? Have you looked at the photos of River Islands?
I did. I looked at their baseball field.
Looks phenomenal, huh?
It's amazing. It's got a home run fence. I'm ready to get down there.
All right.
Or up there or sideways there.
Yeah, sideways. I think Lathrop's like east, past, like near Stockton.
Is it north or south on the...
I'm not sure. All right, let's get back to basketball. Let's get back to basketball. Our geography is all bad here, Kendra. Go ahead, continue.
Sorry. I was just getting... No, I was saying, I think it was really the past couple months after the Warriors season ended that it really started becoming crystal clear that, Klay wasn't going to return to this team. It was a long, drawn-out process. And what I was just saying was, throughout the season, as down as he was, as stagnant as those contract negotiations remained all year long, it was hard to just say, no, okay, it's over. He's not coming back. But it was these past couple months after the Warriors season ended, as the rest of the playoffs and everyone else finished their season, that it became clear that he was done in San Francisco.
So, Kendra, I'm reading this article, and there's so many nugs in here of just insight. Jordan Poole, it feels like, is a big catalyst in terms of threatening both Draymond and Klay Thompson, whether it become financially threatening them because, him getting money maybe limits what they're getting. There's the playing time factor. How big is the Jordan Poole emergence in kind of the erosion of Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, the Warriors, just in general?
It plays a part in it, right? As Ramona and I reported, seeing the fact that the Warriors put in a lot to him and Andrew Wiggins 2 summers ago and not these core veterans left a sour taste. And Klay and Draymond obviously dealt with that sour taste very differently. But it really goes to Jordan Poole, especially after that championship season and that season that he had. That was the first evidence of, you guys know this phrase, right? The 2 timelines, right? That was the first example of that actually working. And in theory, it was really a great idea of, okay, we can usher one generation out and one generation in. But what happens when the younger generation is playing really, really well and the older generation, they're still here, but maybe not doing as much? It's not as seamless of a process as you can just say, oh, this is how it's going to go, because people have feelings and they have pride. And when they don't feel that they're ready to be ushered out, yet someone younger is coming in and taking over, that is a really hard adjustment to make. And it's a hard pill to swallow.
Kendra Andrews here on the River Islands guest line on the Morning Rush on 95.7 The Game. Just wrote a great article with Ramona Shelburne, why the Klay Thompson era ended at Golden State. And the interesting nugget about the Lakers and having deep conversations with LeBron James and the Lakers brass. And he was just like, you know what? I want basketball peace in Dallas. We'll get back to Klay in just a second. But Andrew Wiggins, because he is still here, Kendra, and there's a mutual decision apparently with the Warriors in Team Canada that they don't want to plan for Team Canada. Where is Wiggins at in this equation? Do you anticipate him being back in his locker room once training camp opens up?
I think that's a big piece of what can the Warriors get and what do other teams want, right? Because that's always the issue with trades that Mike Dunleavy has talked about, other members of the Warriors in front office have talked about, is you can be ready to package someone up and move them, but what are you getting in return, and what does that other team want? And can you come up with a good package? So with Andrew right now, it is a weird situation. The situation with Team Canada is very interesting, and look, I think since that, again, that championship year, Wiggs has had 2 down years for himself. He missed a lot of time 2 years ago. Last season, he didn't miss nearly as much, but it still just wasn't that version of himself that they needed him to be. And the Warriors are at a crossroads right now where they just want to get better. Now, that's what I've been told multiple time and time again. That team, we ran back pretty much the same team almost that we did 2 years ago last season, and it didn't get us further than where we were 2 years ago. It didn't even get us to where we were 2 years ago. The Warriors know that they have to make changes right now to this roster. And so it's just about finding the right dancing partners, the right trade partners, the right pieces out there to get them back before we can even talk about, title contention, just into playoff contention at all.
Is there a sense of desperation from the Golden State Warriors in terms of, we have to make a move. We absolutely just have to make it. We cannot stand pat.
I don't know if I think maybe desperation isn't the right word, but there's an understanding that they have to do stuff. There's also a lot of hope and desire for players like Brandon Pajemski, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, to have that internal development to a point. They're not necessarily prioritizing some flashy veteran over the youngsters. And that is especially where they sit right now after missing out on Paul George, after waiving Chris Paul, after losing Klay Thompson. The offseason is already we're not like towards the end of it by any means, but it's in a further advanced stage than it was even just a couple days ago, right? At the start of free agency. So there's desires to put more pieces together, but there's also an understanding that at this point, the number of guys that they can go get that will change everything is very, very slim. So how do we adjust to that now?
Kendra, you write in the story that 6 weeks ago, the Riviera in L.A., where they just had the U.S. Open, and it's a beautiful golf course. Joe Lacob invited Klay Thompson down to the course, but basically the marriage is over by then. Enlighten us on what transpired during that golf game between Lacob and Klay, and why was the marriage over basically before they even teed it up at the first hole?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just, sometimes you'll go to a golf course and you'll go on any outing with someone who holds a lot of control of your career and of your job. And I think especially golf is a place people think a lot of business chat happens. And it didn't happen. And I think at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing to say, is that the conversation that Klay was hoping to have on that golf course didn't happen. But also by that time, that was 6 weeks ago. So we're in early July. 6 weeks ago puts us
late
the
May.
Beginning of June. I'm really okay.
Yeah, late May,
I'm really
early June.
So I can't count how
That's why you're a writer. That's why we're in broadcasting.
but when you look at that, something that I was told, throughout this process is, again, because Joe has done this type of negotiating tactic before, where you do play the long game. You take a colder approach. You don't discuss it as much, but eventually you offer the money and you get the deal done. You saw that with Draymond, right? You saw that with Steve. But I'm told that with Klay, he has a very different mental, right, than those guys. So the question was, by the time, if the Warriors do find a deal that works for them and they present it with Klay, is it too late? Has he already separated himself in his mind from the Warriors? And that's what we're seeing. That's what we saw happen. And that's what that was. It was this, okay, let's go play golf and let's see what is discussed. Let's see if they can bring my mental back. And nothing was even discussed. And so at that point, again, what was already probably brewing in both of their minds was just solidified. The fact that nothing was discussed there was nowhere to go after that.
It says in the article that Steve Kerr was fighting to kind of keep things together. How long has he been fighting to keep things together? Because it just reading the tea leaves from afar, Bob Myers leaves. Maybe he wanted to, you're just summarizing here. You're trying to come to some sort of a conclusion. Maybe he wanted to break things up. I don't know where Lacob was thinking, but it sounds like Kerr was really trying to keep the core together, correct?
Yeah, that was for when you look to you guys remember how the first half of last season went, like last season, I mean the one that we just finished, it was a poor start, right? Like they weren't good. And there was a lot of chatter and discussion of they need to make a move at the trade deadline, and the Warriors feeling we need to make a move at a trade deadline. And the Warriors wanted to keep the players and the coaches, they wanted to keep that group together. And then right before the trade deadline, they went on a run. They put together some good moments, enough to make the front office say, okay, like let's stand pat. Let's see what this team can do. And then it completely, fell apart at the end of the season, which again is why now you head into this off season, the front office saying, well, we know we have to make moves. We wanted to before, and we were proven right. So now we just know that the same team that we had last season and really the year before, it can't exactly be a carbon copy of what we have heading into this season because it didn't get the job done.
Well, there's so much here, Kendra. We could have you on all morning long here. I got another one for you, though. But Jonathan Kuminga's status here. We're hearing that he wasn't part of the Clippers deal to go try to get Paul George. We heard from another writer that he was part of the deal to go get Paul George. Where's Kuminga standing with the Golden State Warriors? As of right now, 8:45 a.m. in the morning, would you deem JK untouchable for the Golden State Warriors in any trade talks, whether it's for Lauri Markkanen or Brandon Ingram or whoever is out there?
I think it would have to be for who, like as I was kind of saying before, of if there's a guy that the Warriors feel could change everything for them right now, maybe he would be in that. But the Warriors aren't wanting to get rid of Jonathan Kuminga at this moment, especially, again, when you look at pieces that they've lost so far over the summer, what they're trying to rebuild. They like Kuminga and they like his ceiling. And he has had his own journey with this team, his own development, his own ups and downs with his role, right? But when you look at where he is in his career and entering into this season, the Warriors really like what he has to offer for this team. And they're wanting him to be part of this development of this younger group stepping up and taking more onus on them this season.
Well, I guess then I have two questions that kind of coincide with each other. Will he get paid in the next couple of months because they have to work an extension out before October? Otherwise, he's a restricted free agent. And then if he does get paid, how does that sit with some of the veterans? Well, because clearly this has happened before where young guys have gotten paid. And
Draymond's got his money now.
Yeah. But I mean, how can I think that him getting paid isn't going to upset people? Like, that's kind of the culture that I'm looking at here.
Well, I think in terms of timeline, the Warriors are always is always an organization that works on deadline, right? You set them an October deadline. They're going to use that October deadline. That's what we saw with Jordan 2 years ago, with Andrew, even with Draymond, even to a certain extent, Klay, right? Like they say, okay, we have that much time. We're going to use that much time. In terms of what it would do, it's a tricky question because, as you said, like Draymond has his money. Klay has decided to leave. That decision is made. There aren't as many like those types of veterans left on this team to say, well, why haven't you paid me? But, I can't, unfortunately, I wish I could sometimes. I can't infiltrate their brain and know Klay's going to be sitting in Texas and see that Jonathan was paid X amount of money. He's going to be annoyed. I can't tell you how that's going to reverberate, but I think also at this point they understand. Everyone understands that this is a different reality. This organization is in a different state now, and you have to adjust with it. What did someone say to me the other day? Like the unrelenting wheel of change. Like that's just what it is. And with the Warriors, they found something so different and special over the past 11, 12, 13 years where it just didn't feel like there was a lot of change, but it's not normal. I think anywhere else in the NBA, that is just so not normal. And now that the Warriors are they're out of the 1% and they're in the 99%, right? It's just it's a very different reality. Well,
I think Klay's going to be happy in Dallas getting wide open looks from Luka and Kyrie Irving, play for Jason Kidd. He's in a good spot. I think it's a great fit for him. And he gets out that fishbowl, as you and Ramona wrote. He didn't want to go to the Lakers, even though there was $4 and $80 on the deal. Obviously, the Warriors would have had to play ball there. Yeah. But that fishbowl with the Lakers, you imagine him going 2 for 15 in that Laker uniform with those Laker fans and Klay's mentals? That would have been all bad. So also go ahead, Kendra.
I was going to say also the other thing is Tim McMahon reported the other day on NBA Today, too, that, he's talked to people in the Mavs, and we know that it's important for Klay to have a primary role on this team. And Tim reported, look, he's entering Dallas as a starter. Like that is his role. And that is extremely important for Klay. It was about respect. It was part about money. And it was also about, he feels that he has a lot left in the tank. And like you said, Bonta, you pair him with Kyrie, you pair him with Luka, you put him in as a starter, and it all sums up for Klay's vantage point in Dallas.
Wow. I'm just looking here, Shasky, that the Klay Thompson's representatives came back to the Warriors after that golf round of golf, as was skimming through your story, Kendra, that they said, fine, What about 2 years, $20 million each? And the Warriors said, we just can't do it right now. And that basically sealed the deal. That's crazy. He would have been willing to play for $20 million a year after denying the 2 years, $48 million. Wonder how that's going to sit with fans.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I'm sure you guys know more than I sits with fans. You probably have been getting calls and tweets all morning.
I'm sure you're on do not disturb on Twitter. I wish I could be like you, Kendra. Jeez Louise.
Hey, Kendra, in honor of the 4th of July, are you a vegetarian?
No, I don't. No, not really.
You want to tune in because I've got a list of my top grillable meats that's coming out. And what is your number one for 4th of July? Come on, give it to me. What is it?
4th of July?
Yes.
I'm a hamburger kind. I'm a cheeseburger kind of girl.
Yeah, there
Let's
you
go.
go.
I mean, I don't want a hot dogs for me for like baseball games only, but like there's something about a good old-fashioned American cheeseburger on the 4th of July.
I like that.
How about those Giants, Kendra? I see you. You're a big Giants fan, Kendra.
Is she?
How about those Giants?
I've been out there at the ballpark
She's
a couple
always
times this year.
Yeah, she's always at the yard. She's always at the yard. She's got some mutual friends, man. I see her on the gram at those Giants games. It's Gauntes, man. You know, Shasky told me a week ago that he's rooting for the Giants to lose. Can you believe him, Kendra?
Wow. That's big.
That's big.
I just want them to be able
bold.
to.
It's bold.
Bold.
No, it's not bold. I am rooting against the Giants. I want to see more Hayden Birdsong. I want to see less Confortos. You know what I mean? Like, I want the young guys.
All right, Kendra.
It's fair. It's fair.
Go back to sleep, Kendra.
Like minds think alike.
Thank you so much. You're doing a hell of a job this offseason, man. I can't get enough of these articles.
Great article.
Thanks for coming on with us on such short notice. But I'm sure there's going to be so many more. Why does it have to be so nasty? This shouldn't end like this. Bye, Kendra.
I'm sure I'll see you guys. Talk to you guys soon.
Sounds good.
See you at the California Classic, maybe, for Bronny James' debut, huh?